Welcome to Jane Jackson Careers, a podcast that takes your career to the next level. Here's your host, Jane Jackson, author of Amazon Careers bestseller, Navigating Career Crossroads.
And a very good morning. You're listening to the SteveO Show on Northside Radio. The time is just gone 10 o'clock, and we have Jane Jackson, career management coach, speaker, and author of her new book, Navigating Career Crossroads, and How to Thrive When Changing Direction. Now, Jane is a well-respected coach and facilitator, passionate about empowering individuals to reach their life goals. And she has over 14 years of experience across Asia and Australia, coaching executives who have experienced redundancy and are in between jobs to find and follow their passion in their careers. Well, Jane has now created a 7-step careers program that would take you from unsure, confused, we've all been there, and frustrated to confident, clear and excited about your new career direction and new career goals. And I'd like to say a big good day and a big good morning to Jane Jackson.
Good morning. How are you, Steve?
I'm very, very well. Well, you've got a lot to talk about today. You've got a brand new book released. Just take it from there, Jane.
Yes, well, the book was published 2 weeks ago, so I'm very, very excited. Navigating Career Crossroads, How to Thrive When Changing Direction, because I coach so many individuals through their career transitions when they've experienced a redundancy, or sometimes when they're just in between jobs and they don't know what to do. And I get so many questions all the time about what is the process. So I thought, why not write a book? And so for the past 12 months, I've been putting everything that's in my head and everything that I coach my clients with into a book, and it really has been a labor of love. I'm very, very proud of it, and it now documents my 7-step careers program.
Well, that's very good. People need constructive guides. Now, what made you decide to write this book, Jane?
Well, over the past 14 years when I've been coaching, because so many candidates have been really quite daunted and confused, and they've lost a lot of confidence when they go through a redundancy, I thought, okay, let's have something that can reach even more people than the ones that I can get to one-on-one through my own coaching. And with a book, that means it makes career coaching really affordable to everybody who would need it. I've put so much information into this book that it will take you right from building your self-confidence all the way through to negotiation and onboarding into a new role.
Well, that's right. There's a lot to take on because a career is one of the major factors in our lives besides family. And I'm just looking at your steps. Now, your second step is assess what makes you tick. Mm-hmm. Which I think is a very, very clever word, because we know what makes us tick, but we actually still need guidelines, don't we?
Yes. Well, very often we don't know what makes us tick. That's the problem. And so often I ask my clients, okay, so what are your driving values? What are your personal values? What are your career values? And they're really not quite sure. And if you don't really know what it is that drives you, how can you get to where you think you want to be? And so part of this book, really, in the Assess What Makes You Tick chapter, is to find out what are your personal and career values? What is it that motivates you and demotivates you in a work environment? What are your skills and knowledge? What are your transferable skills if you're thinking about making a bit of a career change? And also, what are your tangible accomplishments? What have you done in your career so far that really has made a difference? And can we use that to market you into the next role?
And would you say, for example, it's not executives, I mean, it's right across different careers, but is it a case when, for example, when people are approaching middle age, for example, and they've lost a job through redundancy, or they've resigned or whatever, but is it a loss of confidence which affects people's progress as well?
Yes, if you've had your confidence knocked by a redundancy, especially if you've been in the same job or the same company for many, many years, a lot of clients say to me, oh, what's it like out there in the real world now? I haven't had to market myself for so long. And of course, they feel very, very daunted. There is a process to follow that will enable you to market yourself effectively. But what I do is I take it all the way back to what is it that is important to you? Where do you want to be in your life and in your career moving forward? what are you particularly proud of in your career so far, so that you can really build up your own confidence. And then once we assess everything else that you've got to market, then we can create the resumes and all the marketing materials, your positioning statement, etc., to get out there to market.
Now, to protect the identities, you've actually used other names, Mr. and Mrs. Smith or whatever, throughout the book to hide people's identities. But you have many true stories. I'll say, could you relate to just one of the stories to one of the people that you've actually coached and the transition it's gone from difficulty, big challenge to success?
Yes, well, one of the gentlemen that I interviewed for the book, who was a lovely, lovely client of mine, whom I worked with back in 2001, when he'd actually been with a company for about 30 years and then went through a redundancy, and I was coaching him, and he was afraid because he'd never needed to market himself before, because within the one company, his reputation preceded him. People knew what he could do. They knew what his personality was like, his key strengths. And so he was promoted and moved in different areas, and his career progressed really well. But all of a sudden, when there was a restructure and he went through the redundancy, it was, oh dear, how am I actually going to market myself outside? Because nobody else outside of the company knows me from a bar of soap. And so then it was a matter of making sure that all of those marketing materials were very powerful and strong, so that all of his key strengths were identified within the resume, as well as in his positioning statement when he was talking to people. And one of the big things was that he didn't want to network. His network wasn't very big because he'd been within the same industry and the same company for so long. And we went through the whole networking process, and there is a process that you can follow so that it's not so daunting for people
as
who don't like networking.
As illustrated in the book, yeah.
As illustrated in the book, yes. I put it all in there. But I remember when he was about to go for his first networking meeting, and he called me. He goes, Jane, I don't know if this is going to work. And I said, don't worry, just go through the script that we've worked on, ask lots of questions. And you know what? If you don't ask for help, people won't give it to you. And he went out and he did his first networking meeting, and he called me afterwards and he goes, oh, I can't believe it. The process works. I got all this information. I've got referrals. I can now pick up the phone because I'm being introduced to other people to find out more about what might be an interesting career path for me moving forward. To cut a long story short, he has had the most amazing career after that redundancy. He's even set up his own business, and every 6 months to a year, he always drops me an email or sends me a note, and we always exchange Christmas cards to say, thank you so much for setting me on my way with this new career.
It's interesting because you use the word networking, and it's very much a cliche that's used these days. But as illustrated in your book when I was reading it at the weekend, many people are actually almost afraid of the word networking. I'm not a networker. Yeah. I don't do that kind of thing. But everyone does all the time without even realizing it. Recommending a restaurant. You should go and try this. How about that? And people are networking all the time, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah. Well, with networking, it's not schmoozing and giving people a business card and saying, hey, call me, because that's really distasteful. What networking is just building up alliances and friendships and relationships before you actually need them. And I mean, just think, if you wanted to go and buy a television set, or if I wanted to, because I don't know anything about technology, I'd always ask someone who knows to say, what would you recommend? And I would go by their recommendation because it's so much easier. And if it's been tried and tested by somebody else, then I feel a lot more confident. And it's the same thing with networking. If you get a referral from someone to say, hey, you really should talk to this person because they're great at whatever it is that you're trying to market, you're probably going to get your foot in the door for an interview a lot more easily than if you are just submitting an application through an online portal.
Now, talking about online portals, before we go to the music break, when we had you in some months ago, you talked about the big influence of LinkedIn, and you mentioned this in your book, Jane. Can we just touch on LinkedIn for the moment as well?
Well, LinkedIn is a professional networking site. It's grown exponentially over the past 7-8 years now. And just in Australia, there are over, I think it's over 4 million members now on LinkedIn who are using it to market themselves, to either promote their own businesses or to get a job. Recruiters use it, HR professionals use it as a database to source for candidates. And candidates can promote themselves so well on LinkedIn because it's part of their their online branding, their professional image. You can upload information from your resume onto LinkedIn with a photograph promoting everything that you've got to offer. And if you've got the right keywords in your LinkedIn profile, whether it's radio broadcaster or career coach or, the keywords that you and I might use on our own profiles, then if someone's doing a search for that type of professional, your name should pop up.
Okay, well, we're just going to the music break. We're talking with Jane Jackson, career coach, about her brand new book, Navigating Career Crossroads. Would you like to provide the link on the web for your book, please, Jane?
Oh, okay. Well, if you're interested in finding the book, it's at www.navigatingcareercrossroads.com.
Okay, and your particular website as well, please?
Is www.janejacksoncoach.com.
Okay, Jane. Well, we'll be returning, chatting with Jane about a brand new book, Navigating Career Crossroads, How to Thrive When Changing Direction. And we're just going to feature our classic artists of the week, Burt Bacharach and Dusty Springfield.
The look of love, I love you so.
The silky sound of Dusty Springfield and our featured artist of the week, Burt Bacharach. Today we're talking with Jane Jackson, career coach, talking about her brand new book, Navigating Career Crossroads, and how to thrive when changing direction in your career. Now, welcome back to the show, Jane.
Thank you, Steve. It's good to be here again.
Yeah, it's nice to have you as well. Now, image. Image in imaging careers are very, very important. Sometimes overlooked when everyone's feeling safe and secure. But of course, when you have a career change, image becomes part of it, because you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And it's actually fact now that they're saying that people actually make that view and impression of someone in the first 10 seconds, and that never wavers after that.
Well, it's very, very difficult to change someone's impression of you if they've already formed an opinion. And usually when someone walks in a room, we're all very biased. We tend to look at people and we form opinions almost immediately, whether we're correct or not, because we all like to be right. If we think, oh, this person looks really professional, we're going to continue to look for things to reinforce that our initial impression was correct. And if the person walks in and you think, doesn't look that professional, then we're going to look for more things to confirm that they aren't. So the important thing is when you're thinking about looking for another job, or you're moving into a new career, is to think what's going to be the most appropriate attire for that particular environment, and then dress accordingly. It's whether you're going to be going into a role that's going to be, even as an engineer versus an investment banker, there's a different look that you need to project. And so the most important thing is do your research, figure out what it is that would be a good fit. And then when you go into an interview, make sure you project that particular professional image.
And it's actually, we were talking about LinkedIn before the break. LinkedIn as well is a good example of having the right photograph, the right image, because if you are a CEO, for example, you're not going to be in a polo shirt and shorts. You're going to have a head and shoulders shot, looking the corporate look. And even though that's only a part of it, but it is part of it.
Oh, it is. When people look at a LinkedIn profile, if you don't have a photo, because I do have some clients who say, I don't want to put my photo up on social media. But remember, this is a professional networking site. If you don't have a photo, people are going to think, well, why not? What are you trying to hide? So you may as well put a good photo up there, a professional looking shot, so that it needs to be well lit so people can see your eyes, have a nice warm smile, be dressed appropriately for the type of role that you're going for, so that at least they know when you walk in through the door, that's who it is.
Agree. And image. Now, could you give us an example of how image has helped one of your clients? Would you like to provide an example of that?
Oh gosh, well okay, I'll tell you about this one. This gentleman, he was an engineer, brilliant engineer, who came out of university, did absolutely brilliantly, but had very long hair, had a little bit of a blonde streak in it, and he dressed very, very casually because he felt that if people knew what he could do, then they would hire him. What did it matter what he looked like? And so he would go into interviews a little bit too casually, and unfortunately it didn't work for him. And so that's when actually I had to revamp his image and explain that if you just dress up, please, for this sort of role during the interview, it would be good to have a shirt and a jacket, a business shirt and a jacket on. And also we sort of worked on his attitude a little bit too, because jobs don't fall into your lap. You need to market yourself. You need also to be quite likable, because when you're looking for a job, what people are looking for is, first of all, what you can do, the skills and knowledge, qualifications, certifications that you've got. Then the second thing is they're going to be looking for what you will do. Are you willing to work in the way that they wish you to work? Say, if it's 9 to 5, Mondays to Fridays, or is it going to be shift work, or is it going to be occasional Saturdays, or do you need to travel interstate for the role, or do you need to travel internationally for your role? Are you willing to do that? So they need to see if you're going to fit in with that. And then the third thing is the best fit. And this is your personality, whether you fit into the corporate culture or not, whether you fit into the team culture or not, and whether the team are going to like working with you. And so you need to think about all three aspects of your own image and your own preferences that you're going to be projecting when you go in for an interview.
Yeah, I think it is very, very important, because once again, that when you have that interview, that is the only moment you're going to be capturing the interviewers with the right image, with everything really.
And you've got to have the goods as well. Obviously,
well,
you need
course,
the skills
yeah.
and knowledge. But then, if you want to have that little bit of an edge, make sure that you look the part for the role. It's whatever is appropriate for your particular situation.
Yes. If you just tune in, we are talking with Jane Jackson, career coach, and we're talking about her new book, Navigating Career Crossroads, How to Thrive When Changing Direction in Your Career. Now, Jane, tell me about the Career Crossroads Community Forum, where people can join once they've read the book.
Yes, okay. Well, throughout my book, I always mention, if you'd like, email me and then ask to join the Career Crossroads Community Forum. It's a forum that I've set up on LinkedIn, and it's a discussion forum basically. So if anyone has any questions about how to market themselves, or they're having a particular challenge about any of the aspects of career transition, they can ask questions. I'm building up the community at the moment. The book's just been published, so the community has just been launched, and I'm building it up with recruiters, other career coaches, as well as obviously people who are in transition, so that we can all share information, ideas, and provide guidance within the community. So once you've read the book, just email me and say, I'd like to join the forum. I've got a few questions, and so I'll send you an invitation to join the forum. Okay,
and can you please provide your contact details for the listeners?
Okay. So if you go to www.janejacksoncoach.com, you'll find all of my information on the website.
Well, absolutely marvellous. Yes, and one last thing, we did actually tell the listeners before, actually, because the phone's been ringing. Just to remind you again, we are giving 3 of these Navigating Career Crossroads books away. Thank you very much for Jane for doing that. And just to remind you, if you'd like to call us on 9419-6969 to enter yourself in the draw. Otherwise, you can contact us at steve@steveoshow.com to enter yourself by email, or if you happen to be on the Facebook nearby, just go to SteveO Show and just place your name in, which we've already had some of those as well. Well, it's a delight having you on the show again, Jane.
Thank you, Steve.
We wish you every success for this book. I think it's reading over the weekend. I think it's very insightful. And what is the wonderful thing about books such as yours, Jane, is that there is something there for everyone. So you can actually go to one of the 7 steps which you've described. You think, that's what I consider I need my help on, because obviously there'll be many, many other areas where you'll find with.
That's right. Well, within the book, I've got, because it's 7 steps, I've used the acronym CAREERS, CAREERS, so that you can confidently manage change, assess what makes you tick, go through your resumes and your marketing communication, express your professional image, explore all the different job search strategies, relate your value and impress at interviews, and then, of course, your strategies for career success moving on into your new role. So with that, you'd be very well prepared for an effective job search.
Wow. Well, that's what it's all about. Well, thank you ever so much for Jane Jackson coming in. It's 10:22. We'll be getting on with the music. And remember, once again, if you need to find any more information about that, you can go through to the SteveO Show Facebook, or also go to the Northside Facebook, where all the details of Jane's book is online. And thank you for that, Jane.
Great. Thank you, Steve.
You've been listening to Jane Jackson Careers. Sign up to receive regular career advice at janejacksoncoach.com.